Hello, everybody. Is this working? I don't know if this is working. Let me check if it's working. I don't really have any way of testing that out. So I'm just going to pull up YouTube on my phone. But hello. Live. Am I live? Refresh. It looks like I'm not live. Let me see if I'm live or not. Am I... Okay, here we go. It looks like we're live. Cool, very cool. So, let me just smallen that a little bit. I apologize for everything being janky. This is my first live stream. We're just going to kind of do stuff and see how it goes here. So, I am hacking on the Emacs config today and just doing various stuff. I wanted to do this yesterday, and so I went onto YouTube and was like, hey, can I live stream? And I was like, you can live stream tomorrow. And it had like a countdown. I was like, okay, I guess I can't live stream today. I'll live stream tomorrow then. And I will... so I made this like to-do list of all of the things that I need to do. So... There's a bunch of stuff, and it's all kind of unfun. I don't really want to do any of it. Okay, so there's this function that doesn't work. Lisp packages, I guess. Yeah. There's this function I made. So basically, when I'm in eShell here, and I enter Emacs, it opens another Emacs as an async shell command, and that's a separate process. Close the async shell command buffer. Oh, look at that! You can like see me behind there. Nice. But like if you do Emacs-NW, that's a separate. Oh wait, that doesn't work for some reason. Let's kill that Emacs again. Kill this buffer. There's a lot of stuff to work on, but like if we, for example, open this file, it just opens a buffer. Okay, that's the idea. And at first, it was a very simple command. There was a website that I basically just Googled how to make Emacs command do just simple buffer stuff, open buffers instead of new Emacs instances in eShell, and I copy-pasted what they had there, and it was like, hey, I wish it would open in another window, so I changed it to file other window. It was this very basic setup, but narrow to region, there we go. Yes. Sure. Okay. So I'm narrowed to region, so all you can see is this function. I guess we don't really care about the rest. And yesterday, I was going to stream it again. YouTube wouldn't let me for the reason being that I had never streamed before. It was like, okay, now that you're allowed to stream, you have to wait 24 hours after asking. So, okay, I guess I am. That's what's going on there. Is this stream, like, decently loud or quiet or whatever? My videos. Let me just go to my channel. Hey, it's showing a live stream. Oh no. Oh god, I hate the way my voice sounds. Okay. Right. Time to actually get to hacking. This is like totally different. Whatever. So, to summarize the functionality, I made this little diagram of the control flow. By the way, this I'm pressing the percent sign. This is Evil Match It is the plugin that does the matching between the org quotes. It's pretty cool. I just wish it worked with like surround and standard operators. It doesn't. It only works in motion state, which is like normal and visual. It's like I can V and then percent, but I can't. And I can V percent equal sign, which does a separate thing. It puts equal signs around it because I've made a function that does that, which is a whole other thing that I have to work on too. Maybe I should do that. That's fun too. But yeah, you can't equal percent. It doesn't work. And it says no matching item because apparently Evil Match It isn't really matching. It's jumping or it's searching around. That's the thing that would be nice if it were better integrated. Oh well, I really don't want to. Excuse me. I'll be right back. Sorry about that. I'm house sitting and dog sitting, and the dog goes schizo every now and then. Yes, you're a little schizo little dog, aren't you? Yes, you are. Okay. Moving on. I'm sorry. This is terrible. No, nobody should be forced to watch me ramble like this. But you are. I mean, nobody is, but like, whatever. So originally this was a very simple, it was basically this map car statement. It would reverse the args and it would loop over each of the arguments and it would just edit each of them as if it were a file, whether or not the file existed or not. I have improved on this, so like, if Emacs is called with a -- client, it will open Emacs client. Otherwise, it'll open Emacs. If there are no arguments besides client, or if no arguments at all, there we go. Okay, so just plain Emacs opens an async. A new async Emacs, Emacs -- client, throws an error because Emacs client can't get called with no arguments, which kind of defeats the point of that. Also, this is a server mode Emacs instance. Let's check the variable server mode. Oh, it's nil. But there is a server here, otherwise this would be an empty, yeah, there we go, empty string. But it's not an empty string. So, wait, why? Okay, each shell can be on the top, that's fine. I've never been a fan of putting the shell on like the very bottom few lines here, just having a little terminal below. That's never appealed to me. I suspect that's like a Stockholm Syndrome kind of thing. People like it because their IDE did it, and their IDE did it because somebody liked it at some point, and then everybody else has just kind of had to deal with it and pretends to like it to stay sane. But I have been spared this horrible fate, and so I can recognize that it's kind of not great. Also, I just want to show this Emacs NeoFetch here. This is a Fedora system, but I modified my NeoFetch config so that it will actually, if it detects that we're inside of an Emacs instance and it's in some kind of Emacs terminal, it does an Emacs NeoFetch and it does the colors like this. I had to like do this weird thing where you like advise a bash function that doesn't really work, so you have to like rename a function, which you can do, and then redefine the original one. It's a mess, and like working out how the bash. I'm so glad we have EList. It's so much better than bash. Okay. So Emacs, eShell Emacs. I need a new. I'm thinking about a new way to do this. So let's see, like this, paste it there, delete these quote delimiter marker blocks, and equal % no matching item, because of course not. And this doesn't indent properly because of course it doesn't. So here's, this is stupid. This is like not what I was working on. So the problem with complicated stuff is that it's like the easiest way to do it when like planning it out is to make helper functions and then have conditionals that call the helper functions. But then you don't really want to have helper functions, because if you've got helper functions, then you got to make a package, and it's easier to just sublimate them into the original function. Like I'm setting a variable openFun here to this lambda, and the lambda is already maybe I should. There's definitely an easier way to do this. So if So the problem with, if we do Emacs-NW, that opens a new Emacs that, so that apparently doesn't work at all. We're not one window P. So why did I write this like this? Oh, it's because of this. It's because of this. I need to put this below here. I need to put this below here, and I need to prog in this whole deal. So let's just reevaluate that and try it again, and it does nothing. Okay, there it works. Emacs-NW just opens it in the same window, which if we kill it just returns, and you see it returns the buffer as it should. How does it work if we've got os/windows.al, which is like almost empty? It opens man plus and it opens Windows. Okay, kill Windows, kill man plus. By the way, I was working on so NeoVim does this thing where it highlights man pages, and it highlights them beautifully, and it's got all these colors and bolds and italics and underlines and all this nice stuff that it renders in the terminal with your NeoVim color scheme, and it's amazing. It's like Subarashi, but sorry, I'm a weeb. But Emacs has two separate man pagers implemented in EList, and neither of them do that. And so I set about trying to write one that did, and I even like copied the regex from NeoVim and then like tried to like Emacs-size it, but apparently that didn't work either, because it's completely broken. It doesn't work at all, and I'm not ready to have another stab at it. You can see I made a note over here to work on it eventually. Maybe I should write some documentation. We haven't really done anything, have we? Oh yeah, fixed the no window issue. So that's a thing. Now the other thing this does, sorry, I'm showcasing this because I'm nervous, is, so if you look, I don't have a file called mitchtheme.el in the current directory, let's say. But if I just put even Mitch theme there, it'll ask if I want to follow the symlink, because this is actually using find library. So if you just give it one of the catches here, it'll check if there's a library, and the way I'm doing this is, let's actually control plus this a little bit, make it easier to see here. I just realized I'm not used to this whole streaming thing at all. Oh look, my line numbers broke. My line numbers always break. I hate my line numbers. But they're still better than everybody else's line numbers, because that's a whole other rant. I don't want to talk about line numbers right now. Anyway, this is my theme. You can see it in action here. Basically, all themes are bad. None of the popular themes that you see on Reddit or anything look good at all. They're all bad. They all look the same to me. I know I'm probably wrong. They probably look different to you. You can probably tell the difference, but I can't. Every single like literally between the Doom theme and Dracula and Nord and Cat Puccino, I literally cannot tell the difference between them. Like, if you put them next to each other, maybe I could say, okay, that one's probably not that. I could process of elimination them, but they look the same to me. If you just showed me an editor that was styled like that, I could not tell you which theme it was, because they all have the same gray background, they all have the same pastel color palette. It's just, okay, Solarized is a little bit different. Maybe Nord is bluer and Dracula's purpler, and Doom is like a gunmetal light bluer. It's very vague. I don't like that. I like my contrast here. You can see my I use these bright colors, and I mostly use I'm really not sure about these org heading faces. I don't like them, but the other ones that I had the original ones I had were just inheriting from these faces, and so they were kind of ugly. One thing that a lot of people do is they have a duelist statement in their config. I think that's what System Crafters had, where it would compute the sizes. It would go from 1.5 down to 1, and it would have the steps between. But for all of the different heading levels, and each one would be a little bit smaller, but they would all be bigger than this. But when you lazy load org, that breaks, because it only is able to set those attributes, it's only able to set those attributes programmatically, not just, okay, if you use customize, or if you use use package, which is it's generating a custom theme on the fly for you, that will be picked up, and you can customize themes that aren't loaded. You can pre-customize them, and then when it actually loads the thing, it'll look at what's already customized, and it'll use that instead. whatever. It'll set it to its default, and then it'll apply to customize on top of it. But it doesn't work if you just directly like set face attribute. So it's getting dark out. Oh well. There's lights behind me, there's lights above me, there's lights everywhere. I can't turn them off. I don't know where the switches are. I'm house sitting for somebody. And I didn't test all their light switches. Merry Christmas, by the way, everybody. Oh. Wrong window. Okay, that's a little big. This is fine. This is fine. We are doing just fine. You gotta be down because of... Okay. Don't like using these set cues. I like using LETs, but LET is, it just made more sense to do it this way. One thing that doesn't make sense... Okay, part of the problem here is my window configuration. I'm basically just using stock Emacs with the evil modes like this is... If I press Control W and then J, I'll go down window, and then Control W L to go right window, and then Control W H to go back to the left. And then I can Control W plus, and that goes up, and then minus goes down. Basically, it just uses Control W as a window prefix and then Vim motions. And that's mostly fine for the way that I'm doing it. But the way that... Sorry, dog's barking again. Yes, it's getting dark. It's Alaska. It does that. Yes, it's very hard to be outside. It's been like that for days. Told you, schizo dog. Okay. So, why do I even want to use Emacs Client? I don't think I do. So here's the thing. I just remembered. eShell has this mechanism to process arguments. And I don't know how it deals with multi-letter arguments. So we're just gonna have to figure that out on the fly, shall we? Okay, this is my YouTube. Nobody look at my private key. This is Brave browser. Nobody look at my Brave homepage. Hey, it doesn't. Where's the? It's supposed to like blur everything. Where it only like half blurs. What is up with that? Okay, so it's the early days, guys. It gets better. It all gets better. eShell, eLisp, eShell, arguments. See if that does the right thing. Shell process arguments, not quite. Shell. Oh. See, the thing is, everything like tries to correct eShell to shell. Okay, there's a whole bunch of articles from people more talented than I about how they switched to eShell and it was the best thing ever. How to define a command for eShell. For some reason, Stack Overflow never lets the cookies cookie. This is not what I'm looking for. Okay, what is the function called? eShell process Options. eShell eval using options. This is helpful, by the way, is the manual interface. Let's just full screen this window. It's cool. Helpful is a very cool package. It shows you the doc string and it shows you the source code, and it has some debug buttons that I don't know how to use, even though I did watch the System Crafter stream about how to debug Emacs. It was nice. I even did the timestamps for it, and then I was halfway through doing the timestamps and he hid my comment, so I couldn't edit it. So, whoops. I think that's how that works. Percent sign, there we go. So it's a macro. The problem is, it doesn't tell you, okay, can I info search? I can info search for eShell eval using options, because I want an example of this. Messages, wait. Okay, info, where's my info buffer? There it is, eShell, and then, wait, no, we want info search, eShell eval using options. Where? Messages not found, apparently. Eval using options. There it is. Okay, so we've got the info. So this is I'm using a package called info variable pitch that makes these letters different sizes. You can see my cursor freaking out over the fact that not all spaces are the same. Oh, that's 2 spaces. But see how skinny that period is compared to a giant W? Yeah. I installed it because I thought it would work, and it kind of works, but it also kind of has some problems, so I intended to get rid of it. I guess it didn't take. Show me an example. I don't, it doesn't help. It doesn't help. Okay, there we go. So, here's our ls example. This is not the actual eShell ls command, because the actual eShell ls command is awful. Like, it's okay. Anyway, so we have this. So let's switch to the buffer in the other window of packages.el, which is narrowed to my thing and the Did I mention it's really windy here? It's, because it is. It's so extremely windy, and it snowed like 6 feet last week, so now there's like 6 feet worth of snow that's being blown around everywhere. It's a big mess. I lost my front bumper yesterday. I crashed into a mountain of snow. It was a whole thing. My car still works mostly. It's all good. Merry Christmas. Merry freaking Christmas. Okay, let's actually figure this out. So, I guess just going to define an alternate eShell Emacs. \Emacs. Does that work? Yes, it doesn't. And rest ars. L11 rest ars. Run external Emacs. Period. Eshell eval. See, this doesn't have any multi... Wait, hang on. So, eshell eval using options multi-letter argument names. That's vague, that's vague. This is a bug report. Yes, it should be. Is there a way? Well, the scrolling is not how it used to scroll. Is my Brave not running in Wayland? Guys, don't use Brave browser. I mean, do use Brave browser, but also don't. It's like, okay. I'm going to put quotes. I'm going to search Google because Google will have the answers. No, I don't care about... Why does Red Hat get in here? Not get aught. eShell, there we go. Okay, they're just... Okay. Somehow Google's answers are worse than Brave's, even though Brave is, for the most part... I mean, even when you turn the Google off, it's like, it works too well for it to not be using Google. eShell complete. There we go. Here's where I got the original Emacs function. If no large berry buffer, else map C find file to all of the expanded file names of each arg, which was fine, except it would, like if you did emacs-nw, it would open a file called -nw, which I don't want, obviously. So eshell slash, okay, and options, we've got some tricky man and Perl doc stuff. They've got background commands. That's all cool, but I don't want it yet. Changing the prompt. Why is this in the functions section? Interfacing with Debian. Oh, they've got Debian. Okay, okay. Those are some good. Wait. Those are all single character as well. Okay, we've got a pager. That's just a buffer, because everything is just a buffer. It's all buffers. Yay, Lisp. I don't like this. I don't like... Hang on. But wait. Does LS have... Maybe I'm overthinking this. So let's just do Emacs macro args. What's macro args? Yeah, args. And then a list of lists of which each is a character, but I'm going to put a string because grr, no window. So let's put this over here so it's not over my face. So that's the first, and then second, and then, wait. and then I guess true we'll put. And then the name for it. No win, no window, and then the documentation, which is open in terminal mode, no window. And then, yeah, so that's, so in this, that's, so there's this list here, and then, okay, so after all of those, after all of these, it has the colons, which is external Emacs, and then usage, file, I don't know, I guess file, dot, extra cringe, and then period quote, and then one closing parenthesis, and then it says to just do the thing somehow. So how does it handle? Now I'm very confused. Sorry, there's a dog hair on my screen. Did I mention I'm dog sitting? So yeah. Message. %s, I guess. Flatten in args. Flatten -tree, because that's the name of the function. Cool. So now if we go to eShell \Emacs, returns nil \Emacs -NW, and it somehow works. And it complains about... Okay, so that appears to work. If we just do user bin Emacs -NW, that's the same thing. So this is working. So we can just do multi-arguments, and that's perfect. That's cool. Also, okay. I'm using this. By the way, the reason this message is getting displayed. NVim works. Look at that. NVim works just fine, mostly, kind of. Actually, it doesn't. It used to work. Basically, I'm using this terminal package called EAT, which stands for Emulated Terminal. Very nice. And one of the things that it does is it has an eShell mode where you just run eShell, you turn on EAT, and you can get stuff like NeoFetch actually being able to like move the cursor over. I guess start over here. NeoFetch, it reads out does the logo, right? And then it can jump over here and do the info, and it doesn't have to just do it like straight down. So that's really cool. How long have I been streaming? Oh dear, I should probably stop pretty soon. I didn't really accomplish anything in this stream. Nope, I'm going to accomplish something. I'm not going to leave without accomplishing something, because I've got to accomplish something. Else, why am I here? The problem is I don't really know what to do with this. So let's just let's just accomplish something else. Let's kill the let's kill the info buffer, put out a messages, and let's kill the packages buffer to reset the. It was narrowed, and I don't know what else to do with that. Okay, so let me show you org_dwim character. This is a function that I wrote, and in org mode does this magical thing. So if I press slash, it puts slashes around the word. Undo that, and if I press slash multiple times, it toggles them. Do the same with bolts, or with underlines, or with those, or with equal signs, or with pluses. What else can I do it with? Question mark is a backwards iSearch. Okay, yeah. Question mark is a backwards iSearch still. And it mostly works sometimes. There's problems with it though. Let me see, where is my... Okay. So that's, let's go back over here. Let's open this function. There we go. Abandon all sanity, ye who enter here. It says this doc string is, not my worst work, but I kind of want to change it. So, part of the way that this, hang on, it's over here. Part of the way that this function works is, wait, window command increase width size. I guess doesn't. Okay. Yeah, I just want everything to fit on the screen here. Control-minus, Control-plus, and look, my line numbers are getting cut off again. Isn't that fun? It's really not fun, but whatever. So basically, there's no way of checking what the previous binding of the key was. So I had to check this function. I had to check what each key was bound to by default in org mode, which is what evil collection basically is what binds all of these things. And so instead of doing their normal evil things, they do my like kind of unified action, which can all work on the character itself. It like inserts it and stuff. But let's go through this and make sure it actually works though. So that's not very clear. Let's visually select this word. Okay, we're visual, and then I press asterisk. Wait, that does its original meaning. Asterisk. What? Asterisk. What? Okay. Slash. That's a search. Okay, now it's not working at all. Oh wait, because this isn't an org mode. I'm a baka here. Okay, this is text being used for demonstration purposes. Okay. So star. Basically, the rule is if it's on the beginning of the line, it does its normal stuff. But otherwise, like if it's in the middle of a word or something, or V, like, if I go into the word and I star that, it puts stars on either side. Wait. Of that. And you see the visual selection is restored. Now, originally the way I had this working was, if it wasn't in a visual selection, it would select the word, and then it would run itself again, this time in a selection, and I just had an if, it was just an if statement if it's not in a visual statement. If it's a normal state, it would just go to a visual state, and then I realized that I wanted to be able to highlight my old region, and I tried to wrap it in evil helper functions that don't change the match data or the mark data, I guess is what it is, which stores your visual selection, but those weren't working. I don't know why, I don't know what the problem was, I don't know how to fix it. I mentioned it on Mastodon, and somebody gave me an answer that almost worked, but really didn't. And I figured, oh well. So, I guess all this is to say, you can't have it both ways. So now it just simulates that, it goes to the beginning of the word. Let me see. Yeah. Save excursion. It gets exhausting to talk about. It's it's a do what I mean function. It does different things depending on the context, and there's no helper functions inside it because that doesn't make sense. It's also got this thing I tried to do where if it's part of an org block or something, it won't work. Wait. Hang on. You'll stay normal. If the character is equal to the character after, it just goes right character, which is very similar to how. Well, let me just show you how this actually pans out. So if I star, it inserts 2 stars so I can type bold text between, but then if I type another star, it just goes over the star, it passes over it like electric pairs. And then that turns into an OR level 2 heading, and then I can backspace over him. Backspace doesn't change at all. It's not smart like electric pairs or paredit, because paredit, if you, this doesn't have paredit enabled, but here, if we just enable paredit, you backspace paredit, or backspace is, if you go to the end, when you backspace through paredit, it leaves the parenthesis there. As it backspaces, it only deletes the parenthesis when you delete the opening one. I wish I could make this do that, but it's too hard. I think I would have to advise whatever function is being called by backspace, or redefine the backspace key. By the way, the reason I'm not doing this with electric pairs is that, well, A, they don't do all of these things. For the insert mode, it's fine. They do this. That's the thing they can do. That's their whole shtick. That's their deal. Not like this, but if you, what am I saying about? It was you can't just highlight a word or toggle a highlight of a word. See, the end game for this is WYSIWYG. And that sounds like a buzzword, and it is. And a lot of people don't like it because of the connotations that it has. But the idea is that you want, let's say this org face, this org file here, I want this to be able to be printed out directly as it looks on the screen, or to be able to edit it such that it can be exported to a PDF that looks exactly like this. That would be cool to have. Not to redefine what Emacs is, not to clutter up our screen with toolbars and stuff, but just as a thing, just to be able to say, okay, this is how the org file looks. Let me drag stuff, or maybe I can have like text fields or drag stuff around. Maybe the UI can present an interface where I can drag stuff around, but it's all like metadata at the top of the file. Like, wouldn't that be cool? Like, if I could just go hash plus colon properties. By the way, does anybody else like hate the way that these property drawers work in Org? Like, if I just had a whole bunch of properties drawers like this that would cache to the file, and that would be like hidden, like tab hidden or something. Or you could have a theme just made it really small, but like have a line there that it would show on. Or you could like, I don't know, but there's Org mode has the potential for this. It's like kind of doable with HTML. I don't think that it's something worth fighting. And apparently that's a controversial opinion in the community, which is kind of weird, but whatever. Let's just undo everything here. And my undo is broken because you cannot undo, because my undo depth is low. I think I'm using undo foo, or just the built-in Emacs undo. I don't know, there's a conditional statement in my packages file that does changes to things. Well, this was disappointing. We didn't end up actually fixing anything. I'm going to try and work on the way that I do this so that next time we can actually show you something cool. Because maybe I should be chiller. Yeah, let me show you around my Emacs config. Let me change the name of the stream real quick first. YouTube live stream, edit, mouse, trackpad is, trackpad acceleration is broken completely, so let's call this Emacs stream. Emacs config tour stream Christmas 2022. This is my first live stream ever. Blah blah blah. Okay, that's cool. Hey, I have 0 viewers. There was a view for a moment. Wait, is that okay? Somebody's actually watching this. I'm very surprised. Nice. Thank you so much for viewing me stream. All right, let me just show you my configuration here. Let's do this chillly. I've got this whole thing where I Control X, Control F. Emacs.Mitch. I'm using Gmax 2. By the way, that's just a thing for. Where's my early init.al? There we go. First thing that runs early init.al. The first thing that I do is I redefine this function display startup area message. When I start a new Emacs, well, that's just a new frame, so it doesn't. Oh, and my screen is locked. Nobody look at my password. Oh wait, you can't, because I have a fingerprint reader. Control X50. Slow that down. Let's just open a new Emacs. Can I middle mouse button there? Open yourself a new Emacs. It'll show this. It'll show this message. It'll love how many seconds it took to start up and how many times the garbage collector ran. I found that useful for debugging early on. There are a few ways people recommend do this. One of them is the after init hook. but the after init hook doesn't always work because other things use it, and sometimes I use it for other things as well. And it's just not always perfect. So the way that Emacs actually displays the function, it's got a primitive there that says, for more information about GNU Emacs, type such and such to about Emacs. You can see that I've got the original message in here was this line, and I'm just replacing it with a little message. I'm using concat because I didn't know how format worked at the time, which message uses format internally, but oh well. And then I've got my parentheses. There, again, the initial scratch message, or the scratch. There was a different scratch message that Emacs came with. I changed it to this one. I'm not sure why exactly. I just felt like changing it a little bit. I think it was something to do with like size as of frames, because I was using Emacs on Windows, and Windows multiple monitors that are different sizes, trying to pretend they're the same size, or like use one for different things than the other. And the way that font scales and Emacs display works on Windows is just generally fraught, and the lines of this were it was only 80 columns long, but that was still too long, so I shortened it a little bit. And it's just a different scratch message. It doesn't really matter. Wait. Control-W, Q. What is up with my fingers today? They're not working. Okay. And then we increase the garbage collector threshold to speed up loading the init file, which doesn't work. Some may say that it works. Some may say that it does something. Some may even recommend you use this package called GCMH, or the Garbage Collector Magic Hack, which like messes with hooks and idle states and garbage collection thresholds and stuff to like try and improve performance, but that doesn't work. And in fact, it makes my system a lot slower, and so I just kind of do this for now. This is setting the garbage collection threshold to 50 kilobytes, megabytes, 50 megabytes. One of the problems with doing this is that this isn't actually just how much. A lot of people think this is how much memory Emacs allows itself to use. No. That's like when the garbage collector won't run until Emacs gets to that number of bytes of memory used or whatever. I think it's bytes. Yeah, it should be bytes. Everything's bytes, right? It's either bytes or bits. Oh well, it's only 8 times as much. Wrong way. Altogether. So, oops. Schizo dog. How are you doing? Yes, I know I'm ignoring you, but I'm not going to just not ignore you, okay? Okay? There you go. There you go. Alright, let me see if I can multitask here. Package enable startup nil. I have a comment here about straight, but I'm actually not using straight anymore. I'm using alpaca, but alpaca also can use without package, and it just makes everything faster. I'll show you how alpaca works. It's pretty cool. Use package verbose is nil. I had it true for a bit there. Basically, when you start up a configuration using use package, it'll like it'll give you a message when each package loads, but I don't like that. I just want it to load transparently or just not load. And then straight fix flight check doesn't work anymore because I'm not using straight anymore, but it was pretty cool. I'm also not using flight check. I don't know why I have this enabled. Whatever. In inhibit startup messages, the default Emacs shows this startup message, and it's got like the GNU logo, and it's got links to click for the manual and the website and all that stuff. And it's fine, but I don't like to see it ever. So I just say no, I don't want to see that. And also don't see the startup screen native comp async report warnings errors. When you first switch to a version of Emacs that has native compilation enabled, it will try to native compile all of your packages and libraries and binaries and things. It'll always have errors. It'll throw errors about variables and not being defined, functions being unknown, and free variables and unknown and lexical and things, and it's a big window that it's a window that pops up, and it's got all these like do not enter emojis on the left, and there's just no reason for it. I mean, it's useful to have, kind of, but there's absolutely no reason to pop it up in front of me. I know that it's going to happen. Everybody knows that compilers put out too many warnings, so let's just not bother. And then tramp, I have disabled, but it actually still works for some reason. I also have a use package statement for tramp. And that's my early init. There's some hooks here that are disabled. I have a function, image graphical setup. If I go to the definition, basically it's just doing, it's disabling the scroll bar and the right side and toolbar, the menu bar, enabling the fringes, disabling all the file dialog boxes, and enabling pixel scrolling. Omaewa no Shinderu is what that says. I don't know if that's definitely not the right way to spell it, because I don't know kanji. I just typed it out. I have this thing that you can type Japanese text, so if I just open a new comment, press QQ, and boom, it'll just put it's got this list. It's built into Emacs. It's a cool feature that I'm definitely using here. Also, GitLab can't render Unicode for some reason, so, not GitLab, Git. It's technically pronounced Git is what they want you to call it, but I'm going to say Git because, of course I am. If we're on Linux, set the fonts to this. If otherwise, set them to smaller. This doesn't work. You can't tell me that this does work. Actually, maybe it does work, because on Mac, my fonts are always tiny. If I blow up the macOS font, it makes the Emacs a reasonable size, but if I make the macOS a reasonable size, it makes the Emacs unreadably tiny. Just weird. And this is a function to toggle Japanese input. I'll just change the input method. And I have that bound to QQ. This is my functions file. It's got a whole bunch of functions that I've defined. This is, if I minus that a little bit, it looks better. Sorry, just a second. Sorry about that. So, I guess we should go to init.el before we worry about the defums file, because there's a lot of stuff in here that I was using at one point and just commented out. So, init.el, I had this speeds up this file name handler right here set to nil. This basically disables tramp. Tramp is the thing that really cares about the file name handler A-list. So you disable that. It just handles files at the OS level, and for some reason that breaks evil. There's a Spacemax issue about it. I think there's probably a Doom issue about it, and on the Evil repo, of course. There are some really weird web searches where I don't know how it works, but for some reason, some versions of Evil Mode break when you enable this, and then if you disable it, it stops being broken, so it's disabled for now. I define a niche directory because I'm bad at naming things. Seriously, if anybody has like a good name for me to use, let me use it. I'm tired of just my whole online persona is just like me, just like my actual name. I've like doxed myself many times, and it's stupid. But like I'm bad at coming up with names. I had one, but it was like super derivative, and I don't care about the thing that it was about anymore. So I got rid of all of that. Okay, anyway. Then we add my image directory load path, and I should disable this because I have my theme in a separate location now. I won't comment that out yet. Now we require my defunds file, defunds.el, which defines a bunch of functions. In fact, all it does is define functions. So we've got my evil config, which is define when I load evil, and I've got nested defunds because I'm bad like that. So we've got screen lines, which I've bound to Control N and Control P. So if I Control P, it scrolls up, but it keeps the cursor in the same position on the screen. This is somewhat useful, but also not really. I found it to be missing. Basically, I like to go just spam J to go down. By the way, this giant comment block here, this is from Doom Emacs, and the purpose is so that when you're joining or unjoining lines in a comment, it moves the comment delimiters to the right place. The problem is that it's broken and it only works with the Doom Emacs system, and I'm not switching to Doom just so that when I join comments together it doesn't put the semicolons here. Just not worth it to me, but that's what that's about, and that's the only thing that's like even in this this function. So it's a big function with a big comment and very little else. Next we have visual setup. This is ran. Let me put this so it's not in front of my face again. This is ran by my init file towards the end or after the make frame hook. So you disable the toolbar and the menu bar and make the background transparent and full screen, or min-maximize the window, and make the cursor white because by default the cursor is black, and if transparency isn't working and the cursor is left black, you can't see the cursor at all because the background is also transparent. Also the bell, I ignore the bell function because I don't like my bells. Rainbow delimiters, max face count 2. Really, that should be in the used package. I'm not sure why it isn't, but so many things jumping out. I'm just like, okay, I need to change that. I need to change that. But basically, I have two different colors of parentheses, just these darker ones and these lighter ones, and they alternate because I only wanted to bother defining two faces. That's like what it fits with my theme, is just have them be purple, because nothing else is purple in this theme. That's cool. Okay, here we have a fun thing that I absolutely love. In Terminal Emacs, by default, the character that it uses for this vertical divider is the pipe character. This one that you use in the shell for putting the output of a command into the input of another command. the pipe character does not go all the way up and down. So I ended up having to find the way that you do this is you modify the display table, which is an internal construct in Emacs. It's like probably documented somewhere, but it's definitely not common knowledge. It took me like 5 or 10 whole minutes of Googling to find this. So there's the display table is like this. It's a table construct, and you change the vertical border slot to the output of this make lift code command for this character. And you'll notice this character is larger than my cursor, and it sticks up. If I, as you can see, it sticks up all the way through the underline of the previous line. This is, in fact, a box drawing character. And box drawing characters were mainly used on the IBM code page, which was when you had ASCII, and then there was the other bit of ASCII. They would put extra symbols in that would be different on different computers, and what the IBM OSs had was these box drawing symbols so that you could draw boxes instead of just having to rely on like the letter L for the corners, or using like backslashes and slashes for the rounded corners effect, and then dashes and pipe symbols, because those are just ugly. So they made like actual box drawing characters, and some terminals can display them fine. Emacs can use them, but it doesn't by default for no apparent reason. NeoVim uses them with no trouble whatsoever, and it was very jarring to me that Emacs didn't. I was very surprised. Apparently Emacs only recently got true color support, which NeoVim has had forever too. It's just kind of a different beast. Emacs has a lot more technical debt to keep up with, and a lot of older ways of just conceptualizing what it even does. And so these 3 lines fix that one little issue that exists. Then I have my graphical setup, which we touched on, and then the toggle Japanese input, which I also touched on. Then general config, this is just a wrapper to require my keybinds file, so I guess I should probably show you my keybinds file. I use this package called general.el, which is a key binding manager. It provides this function general define key, which you're supposed to use. It has a bunch of wrappers for that, which is what you're supposed to use, but I like just using general define key for everything. Keeps my mind clear. By the way, this is FlyMake that I'm using. I'm not using FlyCheck anymore. I'm using FlyMake, which is built into Emacs. And FlyMake is upset about this because it doesn't know how to load packages with Alpaca or Straight. FlyCheck kind of can be taught to use Straight, but it's a whole thing. So QQ, if I press Q and then I wait, it just types Q. But if I QQ really fast, boom! Look at that. I think that's cool. I think that's really cool, and I don't care that it's cringy or stupid because it's just that cool. And then Control Plus and Control Minus, you probably see me zooming around here. This is really nice to have because the default key binding is some weird chord that I'm never going to remember. Then I have a bunch of commands for space bars. So space, wait for my which key to pop up. Another space just switches buffers. And then W is equivalent to Control W, so then I could just go O to close the other window. And then their space H is the same as their standard Control H help prefix. space B opens the buffer dialog, which is currently using console buffer because it has preview. Also, if you press space on console buffer, it'll show you all these hidden buffers that start with a space. That's a cool feature. Space G is bound to Magit. I'm going to pronounce it Magit. It's supposed to be Magit. DistroTube calls it Maggot, which I don't like because it sounds like something that you don't want in your meat. So Magit it is. And then, again, space is the switch buffer. I've also got these various key bindings for evaluating Lisp code. So space EL is the same as Control X, Control E, which in ELISP mode is eval last S expression, but every now and then I poke around at a closure or common Lisp, and I want my Lisp key bindings to work there too, so I just use general keys. The problem is that this key binding is supposed to be Control C, Control V, R. It's not defined when this loads, so space E, and then you look at the which key menu, and R is nil. Space ER is undefined, it's evaluated to nil, but general makes an entry for it, which gets picked up by which key. Hooray for which key! Which key is really cool, I like which key. Okay, next up. Dog, just okay. Next, turn off line numbers. Sometimes I like line numbers, but other times I don't, such as in terminals. Terminals are not meant to have line numbers. Line numbers are meant to be had in terminal applications, but not the terminal themselves, because why would you care about that? You can only see so much of a terminal at a time. It just doesn't make any sense ever to have line numbers in a terminal. So all of the different ways that there are of having line numbers that I've ever used, there's just an if statement here to turn them all off. And so if we have display line numbers mode, if that's the thing we're using, it turns it off. If we're using linenum, it turns that off. If we're using linenum relative, it turns it off. If we're using nlinum, it turns it off. And if we're using nlinum relative, it turns it off. I could probably just wrap all this in a no error instead of having all this if f-bound p stuff, but I don't care. I think it's stupid that this is even necessary. Line numbers should be smarter, line numbers should be better, line numbers should be more configurable, and I don't want to think about how janky line numbers in Emacs are anymore. Look at my line numbers, they're not even showing properly because the buffer's blown up. Okay, term setup. When I launch a terminal, I turn the line numbers off. There were a couple other things this did, but I took them all out because none of them really mattered except for turning off line numbers, which is very important. I'm not really using vterm anymore, but when I was, this was really cool. Basically, whenever you cd in a vterm, it advises the zshell function to run this elisp function that updates the current directory so that when you Control X, Control F, it starts in the directory that you cd'd into in your shell. That's pretty neat. Then we've got spawn shell. I've never used this. I kind of wanted it, or it was on Reddit or something, and so I copied it. And now it's in my config, and I'm probably never going to get rid of it because what if I want to use it eventually? So that's my def funds. Go back to my init.el here. Yes or no p redefined to y or np because I don't want to have to type out yes or no. Sometimes it's nice, but it's not nice enough to ever use. You have to press enter as the other thing. It doesn't like auto enter after the s. So there's supposed to be this setting use short answers that does that, but it doesn't work. The use short answer setting does not work. Maybe it works if you like. Doc, I don't know what to do with you. Okay. I guess I'll just do this then. I'll throw your thing. So, yeah. When we make a new frame with the server, run the graphical setup, and then if this is starting up a graphical Emacs, just do the graphical setup, which again was this function that disables the fringes and enables the height and stuff. Now backup files. Backup files are weird and dumb, and they're very good to have sometimes, but I've never needed them. I just don't like them polluting the directory that anything is in, and so I ended up copying all this code from the internet to make them work. So I just put everything in .cache/Emacs backups, and it uses the xdg cache home variable, if that's the thing, which really doesn't matter because it should always be set to .cache anyway. And so it makes the backup directory if it doesn't exist. Then also autosave puts it puts it all underneath the backup directory, and same with sessions. I don't create log files, even though I probably should. Log files were never really, like, why would I ever have multiple Emacs visiting the same file? And if I did, if I have multiple Emacs visiting the same file, I intend to kill one almost immediately. So, like, there's no point in asking for me. Maybe for you it's different. Custom file. There's this custom file that exists. If you don't define the custom file variable and like create a custom file, it'll put this segment in your init.el with all of your customized variables and faces, and it's auto-generated code, and it makes some very long lines, and it's just ugly, and it doesn't play well with Git, and I want it to be device specific, so I just have it create this empty file that gets used for customizing stuff that I want to be out of sync. Now we have this street.el bootstrap section. It's this whole big line, very long line that, I guess it's not super long, it's only like 4 lines worth of line. As you can see, everything after 80 characters, everything after this is column 80 here. So column 79, I'll go to column 80, red background. The reason it's a red background is because nothing should ever go past 80 columns. Some people will say that maybe we should, that since it's like 2022 and all, and everybody has bigger screens, and terminals can change sizes and everything, perhaps we should increase the column limit to 120, but that doesn't make any sense, because like if I want to split my windows, maybe we should lower the columns to like whatever this is. How many is this? This is 68. Maybe we should just have everything be 68 columns wide. That's my hot take of the hour. I think I had another hot take last hour. Yeah, the WYSIWYG. But anyway, I'm not using Straight right now. I'm using Alpaca, and I have a separate package that contains the info from the README of Alpaca. If you haven't seen Alpaca, let me just show you Alpaca. Alpaca log. And yeah, so Alpaca is this package manager. Don't be fooled by the log buffer here. It has metax commands. It has, well, I mean, you can use metax commands in like colon mode, but it has a whole bunch of things that it can do. Basically, it's like straight.el, except it has this log buffer, and it can install things asynchronously, which means that when you're bootstrapping an Emacs configuration, it takes a fraction of the time to install everything, because Straight has to like pull everything in order and then make all the symlinks. Alpaca just like rapid fires it. Is that lagging my stream a little bit? No, it's not, because MPV is a rock star. Hey, this, by the way, this webcam is using MPV, the video player. I've got settings for it. Its settings are -- profile equals low latency and -- untimed. This is all you ever need for webcam view in Linux. By the way, some people may say that you're supposed to, that there's apps, there should be apps for this, but it's one command. It's so ridiculously easy. There is literally no reason to not just use MPV as your thingy here, I think. Anyway, it works for... One of the good things that Luke Smith has done, as opposed to all the bad things he's done, which there are, and he has unreasonable opinions about several things, but I'm not talking about that right now. Anyway, Alpaca, pretty cool. There's a couple things that are not quite working right with it yet. Places that the documentation is a little bit lacking, but it's good. It's really good. It's really fast, smooth, everything. Next, we require my packages file, which we're going to touch on in a moment, because the packages file is massive. Maybe I should just make that a separate stream, you know? There's a lot of stuff in there that doesn't make any sense. Scroll margins and steps, a lot of the stuff doesn't really mean very much. It's just fixing bad defaults with slightly less bad defaults. Visual line mode just means scrolling up and down lines does visual lines. UTF-8 is the best character encoding. There should never be any other character encoding we use. UTF-16 wastes half of your space because most of what we're using is ASCII and the rest is like one-off characters. So it's very unreasonable to use anything other than UTF-8. One of the nice things about UTF-8 is that everybody else uses it too. The other nice thing is that it's just technologically superior to every other encoding system that's out there. Default input method is set to Japanese. This is to make my whole, when I press QQ, it does the things. It's to make that work. You can type in kanji and stuff. You type in phonetically, and you can press spacebar to like cycle through different kanji. This is built into Emacs. It's pretty cool. I say that it's disabled here, but it's actually not. I figured out what was broke. Actually, I didn't figure out what was broken. I just fiddled with it more, and it started working again. A lot of things are like that. You'll find, or you probably have found. Debug on error set to nil. I enable this sometimes. Auto window v-scroll is apparently enabled by default, and it makes it so that when you scroll down like this, just scrolling down like this, for some reason that's slow. Also, look, my line numbers broke again. Do you want to know why my line numbers broke again? I'm not going to tell you why my line numbers broke again, because I don't know. I'm going to do an episode on line numbers, and I'm going to show you how my line numbers work, and I'm going to ask if I'm insane for being this pedantic about them, because there's a very specific way that I want my line numbers to look. You see how this number here is offset from the rest of the numbers. It's very hard to describe without like lowering my screen resolution, but this 3 is on the very left of the screen, and then the 1s and 2 down and so on. There's a gap there. If there's a 7 and a space, whereas all the others are the space and then the number. Well, that's how it works in NeoVim. And it's beautiful when it works. None of like the 4 different relative line number implementations for Emacs do that, or even acknowledge that's a thing that anybody might want. They all just put the number on the right with the rest of the numbers. This is not cool. I want my current line number to be offset from my non-current line numbers. Why do you think I have them different colors? It's because they're different colors because I had to make them different colors to make up for the fact that Emacs couldn't do this in the first place. And so you might think this doesn't matter, you might think this is very, very minor, and that I've spent a ridiculous amount of time hacking this one little feature, and you would be absolutely right, because you can see the rest of these lines, it doesn't matter, it would be the same either way, because the digits are filled in, which they shouldn't be. There should be another digit here. It should be offset. There should be 2 spaces after this 5, and then there should be 2 spaces before the one on either side of it. That's not working either. That's how I want it to be, and it's not like that. And I can say it's stupid all I want, but I really care about this for no reason. For some reason. Look at that. Look at the little message buffer go. Look at it go. Oh, wait. What happened? The let. It was doing the LDOC for let, and it was also doing the end of buffer message. That's fine. So we lowered the GCCOM threshold, which was originally set in the early init. Oh, by the way, Prettify symbols mode is fun. I had to root around for this lambda symbol for a very long time. Basically what this means is that if I type LAM, wait, QQ again, LAMBDA, oh wait, no, it's not doing it now. If I do in parentheses LAMBDA, okay, now my font lock is broken. What happened? I don't even care anymore. This is stupid. And then I have this broken thing that's supposed to zoom out if we're on Windows, that it doesn't work, and nothing works. And Emacs is really cool, but it's kind of broken, and maybe I'm the one that's broken for thinking that I can fix all of these idiosyncrasies. But that said, it's all really cool, and I am burnt out, and I need to tend to the schizo dog, so thank you all for watching. Merry Christmas, everybody! It's still Christmas where I am. I'm, like, behind, though. It's probably not Christmas anymore wherever you are, so goodbye, and I will see you, or you will see me in the next one. I won't see you. I don't know why YouTubers